Welcome to True Crime 757, where we dig a little deeper into the stories that we've brought you on air, but we're going to share some more behind the scenes details. I'm Maddie Miller, and I'm joined by our investigator, Margaret Kavanagh. Hi, Margaret.
Hey.
So today we're talking about a coupon scam. Investigators say it was one of the biggest ever across the country, and it was based right here in Virginia Beach out of a couple's home. Margot, tell us about Lori Talens.
When I opened this and started reading it, it was like mind-blowing what was going on. It seemed crazy, like something out of a movie. So Lori Ann Talens and her husband were arrested back in 2021. They were running from 2017 until her arrest for years, this coupon scheme out of the house where she had a lot of knowledge about graphic artist stuff. She would create these coupons and then sell them. And the prosecutors said it was like a $31 million scheme that was going on. So that she would create them and then sell them to people across the country, you know, for making thousands and thousands and millions of dollars. It's super crazy that it was happening right here in Virginia Beach.
What really caught my eye in your investigation was they called her the industry's worst nightmare. So talk about how some of her graphic design stuff, when investigators found this huge pile, they just stacked up all the evidence of the fraudulent coupons. Explain to me what they found.
Wow, they found a crazy amount of stuff. And then they sent us pictures of all the stuff that they found. So they said they found 13,000 products that on her computer that she was selling, rolls and rolls of coupon paper, and she knew how to work the barcode system. So she's a very, and I've tried to get in touch with her since she was in the prison that Martha Stewart was put in before. Now she's not there. They sent her, I think, to Oklahoma. But I wrote her a letter because I wanted to interview her myself about how she was able to do all of this, But that is Bud Miller, who is one of the lead investigators he works for the coupon information system. So he does a lot of these kind of cases. But he described her as like the industry's worst nightmare.
Graphic artist. She also knew how the barcode system works.
And he himself interviewed her after all of this. It was part of like her, deal with cooperating with authorities to try to answer some of their questions about how she was able to get away with this for so long, what she was doing. She gave them advice on how to change things to prevent it from happening. And he said to me that when he asked her, like, why did you do this? And her blatant answer was for money. It's just solely because she was making so much money doing this. But she seems like a very intelligent woman who, if she put her energies into other things, she could probably had another successful business that was, above board. Mm-hmm. But I haven't been able to reach her. A person that was one of her cellmates reached out to me because Lori knew that I was trying to reach her, but there was I sent her a letter and it got sent back to me, but just some issues with the whole thing. But she got 12 years. She's currently serving a 12-year sentence that she was sentenced in, I believe, 2022 or 2021. And then her husband, for his involvement, now she was the ringleader, like the master of it, but he was also involved in it, and he got 7 years. So they're both serving their sentences for this very extravagant, crazy business that they were running out of their house with fake coupons.
Wow. So what was his involvement?
So she did more of what was going on, and then he was kind of like did the secondary things that needed to get done with however they were operating things. I don't know exactly, his exact roles, but she was the one that was like leading the charge. She was the one creating the coupons. She was the one, executing the plan. So she was selling these coupons to people across the entire country. I even think there was some international stuff that was sent out, but definitely across the entire country to people, that were buying them from her from all states, all over the place.
I didn't realize that this went on for years and years.
Yeah, it went on until she got caught, and she wasn't the biggest. There have been bigger busts, but not that many that were bigger than this. But the 31 million was a huge. I mean, that's a huge amount. A lot of things were coming in and out, shipping out of her house, and so they have kids too. So those kids, are without their parents. So it's, I mean, that's tough that they are having to, deal with their parents getting locked up for something like, fake coupons. Like, it just seems so crazy. Fake coupons. Who would think that you would get in so much trouble for something?
I wasn't familiar with fake coupons until your investigation. I guess this is a thing that people do.
Yeah.
There's a movie based off it, you were saying?
Yeah, there was a movie with Kristen Bell. I watched it a few years ago. So yeah, that was loosely based off, I believe, another case. The way it works is, in many of the cases, Lori would sell these coupons to people across the country. They get them, and then they would either cash them in, get the products and then sell them online. A lot of the coupons were for high, like a lot, you get a huge discount off whatever it is, whoever they were, ripping off. So, I mean, this was a loss to retailers, like millions and millions of dollars. Of the people that are selling the products, are the ones that are really affected by it, but then also all of us that are buying things legitimately, the costs trickle down, and then it affects, it makes it difficult for people that are doing legitimate coupons, so it has this huge effect on everything. Some people are like, oh, she's, who's the victim? What's the, but it does have, from what the Coupon Information Center expert, the executive director that I had interviewed, he says, it does have like an impact on everything.
Was there like a certain type of product that she focused on making fake coupons for, or was it pretty much just everything?
It was a lot of different things. So I asked that, and it was, I know one of the other people that got in trouble, which I know we're going to talk about in a little bit, but I read in their document, in their indictment, that it was Pepsi products, Dawn products, Pampers, but they said there was really no limit. I mean, it was just so many different places that they would create these fake coupons, sell them for thousands and thousands of dollars, and then people would either, be making money on their own end after purchasing the illegal coupons.
Wow. So Lori and her husband have been incarcerated for a few years now, but you did a recent investigation on this because now there are 5 women charged who allegedly bought these coupons from Lori. And we're going to touch on that right after the break. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We're going to continue talking about this coupon scheme and how, even though the sentencing was not recent, it's back in the spotlight, and you're investigating this again because now 5 women are facing charges, and you said they were Lori Talens' top buyers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for a while, one of them she purchased coupons on 155 different occasions, and paid Lori $12,000 over this duration for all of these coupons, that she was then getting the coupons and then doing, it's unclear exactly what with, but in many of the cases they are either, selling the products at garage sales, selling it online, getting whatever they can get, and then, or even selling the coupons to other people. So those 5 women have made a plea agreement, agreed to plead guilty to I think like mail fraud or one charge. There's like one down in Florida, Texas, Colorado, Tennessee. So these people are spread out across the entire country, and then they're having to deal with the court system here in Norfolk, the federal courthouse, and face those allegations because that's where everything was based here. So I've been in touch with several of their attorneys. One attorney said that is representing one of the women said, she takes responsibility for what happened. She's a working mom and very sorry about what the situation is. Others said no comment, but it will be interesting to see what the judge determines in that with all of this in December when it's expected to go back to court.
So when you first started investigating this, I assumed the scheme entailed them selling the coupons to people, which to me I was like, most coupons are free. But that actually makes a lot more sense, that they would buy these coupons in bulk, buy the items for a deeply discounted price, and then sell them for technically a still discounted price, but more than what they actually paid for with the fake coupons, right?
Yeah. So, and there's different ways, that people get in trouble with it. So there's a bunch of different ways in which it's all handled, but that is one of the ways. And it's very interesting. And sometimes I've gone to flea markets and seen, a huge amount of a weird product, and I'm like, what is this? So I think that there's, a lot to it, but you can get into serious trouble, with this investigation. The person I interviewed, Bud Miller, who is the executive director of that association, he's been working since the 80s on coupon fraud, coupon scheme. He's watched it change and how technology has changed everything. So, yeah, I mean, you can get into a lot of trouble if you are caught doing this.
And I bet now it's so intricate, just given how technology has advanced since the 80s.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's something, when Lori did her interview, that was something that she emphasized. She told them, you need an app for retailers to be able to immediately determine whether or not a coupon is fake. And so that group was already working on an app, but that was something that he said that she had suggested that needed to be done in order to kind of like prevent this from happening.
So court records say she operated online under the moniker Master Chef. Can you kind of break down how she would make these fake coupons and how they would pass for being authentic?
Yeah, they said that she would use her computer to make the fake coupons inside of her Virginia Beach home, and the counterfeit coupons were virtually indistinguishable from the authentic coupons. The barcodes would match, the cashier would scan them at the stores and would not be able to detect that these were fake. So they were super, they looked very authentic. They looked just like the real ones. However, federal prosecutors said that there was inflated values. So like the discounts that these coupons were being offered were way less, way cheaper than what any kind of coupon would be offered. So giving people these high discounts which is why they were buying them, from her in the first place.
I suppose the reason that this was such a multi-million-dollar scheme was because they worked for so long because they were crafted so well.
Yes, and she had that skill. She had been a prominent person in the community. People knew her. She was part of in various organizations, but she had that graphic artist information, so she knew how to put the barcodes on those coupons to make it so that they would click in the supermarket when they were being checked out without any red flags going off. So she was very good at doing this for a really long time.
Right, and it sounds like she isn't someone you'd expect to have this criminal enterprise. You said when she was initially charged that she was actually serving on the Asian Business Association of Hampton Roads for a couple of years. So
yeah, she was serving on that, which I think it also was very shocking. When this story, when we first posted this online, when this came out, a lot of people commented. They knew her. I mean, people knew who she was. They lived in a very nice neighborhood in Virginia Beach. She had been, a mom and a business person and, had done various things that she was very recognizable. And the crime was just so obscure and weird and something that people weren't used to. So I think when it happened, it sent shockwaves throughout not just Hampton Roads, actually. It made like national news, and it even made some international news because it was just so crazy.
She was so good at what she did that was part of her plea agreement for her to give some pro tips and show her behind the scenes process of how she was able to do this for so long and do it so well.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that she was very hardworking in her criminal enterprise and that she had a lot of knowledge about the barcode system, about marketing, about graphic design. She knew what she was doing and executing it very, very successfully.
These women are from different states, not in Virginia. How did Lori reach these people, her customers, to buy her fake coupons?
Yeah, the official said that a lot of the coupons are being sold on the dark web, and this is in general for fake coupons altogether, but for her case, the dark web and a lot of social media websites. So on various social media websites is where a lot of them are being sold as well to people across, the country. So she's based here, but providing this service to people across the country. So she was doing this very much using social media and using the internet to kind of drum up business, get it out there, and it is what led to her eventually getting caught as well.
And then we'll talk more about what led to her arrest right after this break. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to continue talking about Lori Talens and what exactly led to her getting caught and them raiding her home in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, so it was one of her customers that bought a coupon, or I don't know how many from her, but this person then sent the coupon to the Coupon Information Center. That's Bud Miller that we have talked to various times throughout this whole investigation. He was very intricate in the case against Lori and her husband. They got the information. He was able to identify that, yes, in fact, the coupon that Lori had sold to this person who then sent it to him was not real and was fake. And that is what got the whole ball going and what caused her to then get arrested. So he took the information, did his own investigation, figured out there was some fraudulent behavior going on. Then he got the U.S. Postal Service involved, and they had their investigators then go. There was undercover work done where they're then ordering coupons, the various investigators, and that's how her whole scheme and this whole multi-million-dollar business, illegal business that she was running, became unraveled.
In your reporting, when they raided her home, they went to her computer and found one of, I believe, 13,000 images of coupon designs, and they matched one of those designs to one of the fake coupons that they bought, right?
Yes, and they looked at it, and it was shocking how real the coupons that she was making looked, when in fact they were not.
Mm-hmm. She actually also got in trouble for fraudulently signing up for SNAP and Medicaid because prosecutors were saying technically her husband was employed for her, helping her with the shipments and whatnot. But she didn't report that. So that's why they were able to apply for those benefits, even though they technically weren't eligible for them.
Yeah, and that was mentioned in her, I think that dated back to 2015, just SNAP benefits and Medicaid. And then the prosecutors used that information as well in the case that they built against her.
So it wasn't just the coupon crime, it was that it was not reporting her income from the fake coupons.
Yeah, she would send the coupons. They would make payments on Facebook. They made payments on Bitcoin, on PayPal. And, that's how she was, doing a lot of this business online and then selling and then putting stuff in the mail and sending it to whoever she was sending it to. So, yeah, that was a big part of what was going on.
And I can imagine the layers that added to in the investigation, just all of the different forms of payment. And I feel like it's harder to track that, like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So she was making a lot of money and getting it in a few different ways, but ultimately she is going to have to pay back a lot of money.
Okay, so Bud Miller gave you some tips to share with the public on how to avoid these types of scams, because there are probably many. I didn't know that they were fake coupons to begin with. So what were some red flags he said to look out for?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that he suggested anyone not do, is to buy coupons and pay money for them. He said that is the biggest red flag. Do not pay money for coupons. You shouldn't be paying any money for coupons. He also, going to look at what you're purchasing, look at some of the sites that it's coming from. You can examine, does it look weird? Is it too good to be true? Things like that. So a lot of people, certain people were buying these coupons and might not have realized that they were involved in illegal activity. They arrested the top 5 buyers that she had, but there were many other people that were buying these coupons. So he was very happy that they went after those 5 people. But, there's a lot of other people that were buying these that didn't face charges, but could potentially.
And again, he works for the Coupon Information Center, correct?
Yeah, he's the executive director. And so they have this app that they've developed for retailers that doesn't cost money. Now, if you are a manufacturer and you want the app, you do have to pay, association fees or whatever. But he wants this app, and he wants people to know about it so that if they have a business or it makes it easier to detect when you have a coupon that's not real. And that was something that he said Lori recommended, having a better app to detect it immediately as opposed to what was going on when she did this that allowed her to get away with it for so long.
Did he also say how to go about reporting these types of crimes? Like if you buy a fake, or if you buy a coupon believing it's real and then you give it another look and you're not sure?
Well, he would suggest probably getting in touch with his company, his organization, like the woman who ultimately caused the demise of Lori Talens. You can report it to them. You can obviously report it to law enforcement. There's different groups that you could send it to if you do think that, in fact. But the number one thing is not to buy anything, not to buy coupons. He says you can avoid a lot of problems if you just are not paying for coupons in any way.
I know you touched on this earlier, but it is interesting to think about the trickle-down effects of this. It seems like not a victimless crime, but perhaps not the most heinous crime. But then when you think of, the mail fraud and how it would impact other customers who are paying full price.
Yeah, that was a lot of what we saw on social media, on the website when we posted these stories. People would make jokes and say stuff, the crime, who's the victim. But, Bud explains to me how this does have a trickle-down effect. It makes people and businesses that are really trying to do legitimate coupons, it, takes away from them. And then it also, can cause prices to go up. It can it's just overall not good for the entire coupon system. And it's not fair for people that are, buying things and paying full price or using good coupons. It's stealing is what it is. And so, it's not right. And he has been working for decades to try to combat this. So he does this all the time and is one of the leading people in the country that, looks at this kind of crime.
If she was selling these coupons in bulk, then they're buying these items at a heavily discounted price in bulk. I'd imagine that would really impact the market price of some of these items.
Yeah, we don't have those specific numbers, but it definitely has an impact when somebody's going to pay for it when things get stolen, when things are not being paid for, and many times it's the consumer. So it is, a crime that affects everybody.
Mm-hmm. Now, back to these 5 women. Do we know what kind of sentence they could be facing, or is it varying for each of them?
It's varying, and we'll have to see what the judge determines. There are guidelines with it, but it'll just depend, on what the judge wants, the federal judge decides, because they have a lot of control over what kind of sentence they're going to give. But it's really, we don't know,
I'm excited to see your upcoming investigations on how this all plays out with these 5 women who are set to be sentenced for this.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on True